Well, we're back now, Representative San Isidro. We are sort of continuing our conversation on property tax relief, but we're going to talk about some of the most recent news that happened in Harrisburg, and this is the expansion of gaming by adding table games to Pennsylvania casinos. Now, some may say, what does that have to do with property tax relief? But I'm going to let you take it from here, and it deals with your no vote on this legislation.
Right. Yeah, that's right, Stephanie. I mean, I voted against the table games bill. I was one of a handful of Democrats to do so, and I did for a number of reasons. But first and foremost is the fact that the bill does not provide for immediate property tax relief. If you remember back when gaming was first introduced in Pennsylvania, the idea was that gaming was going to be something that would help us provide property tax relief to our citizens. And many of us believe that really hasn't, that promise has not been fulfilled. And I was not going to vote to expand gaming without a further promise that, in fact, this money was going to go to immediate property tax relief in some form or another. And so that was really my primary reason for voting against it.
Okay, now when you look at the slots gaming bill that was passed before you became a state representative, we're talking about 5-6 years ago, there was a funding formula set up, and part of that funding formula was that property tax relief fund that you mentioned. Now, the same thing happens with this gaming bill, a separate funding formula, whereas the lion's share of this goes to help balance the state's budget. And is that what prohibited you from really voting yes on this?
Well, let me say this. I understand the need right now because we are still in a fiscal crisis at the state. You know, we cut over $500 million in this year's budget from the previous year. So this year's budget represents a cut in overall state spending, which is something I think we needed to do in this economy, and we avoided raising the income tax or the sales tax. And I think people, need to understand that we were able to do that. So I understand that there's a need for the general fund to get revenue. But what we could have done here, and what we did not do, was we could have increased the tax on operators of gaming facilities to about 6 to 8 percentage points. And that money could have been dedicated to property tax relief immediately. And then the rest of the money could have gone to property tax relief after the next year or two when we get past this fiscal crisis and this downturn in the economy. What happened was the bill that was ultimately proposed and passed has a tax rate for the gambling operators of 16%, with a 2% share going to the municipality where the
host municipality.
Exactly, where the facility is located. And then it goes down to 14% after the first 2 years. Now, first of all, the 16% is well below what most other states impose upon gambling operators. But to add insult to injury, the bill then has that number go down after 2 years, which to me makes absolutely no sense. So I was arguing in favor of a compromise that would have increased the percentage to somewhere in the mid-20s, had that difference then go directly to property tax relief immediately. And then after the next year or two, have the remaining revenue go to property tax relief. I think that was a fair compromise. I think it would have ultimately gotten through the entire legislature, the House and the Senate, and I believe the governor would have signed that. But that was not, there was no interest in having that discussion, and as a consequence, I could not vote for the bill.
So first and foremost, it didn't provide immediate property tax relief. Secondly, you felt that the licensing fees and the tax rates were not what they could have been, perhaps. But thirdly, there's another issue that seems like it stemmed your no vote, and this is the possibility of having a casino or gaming facility near the Gettysburg battlefield. So I'm going to let you explain your opinion on that issue.
Sure. There is a proposal out there. I think there is an operator of a gaming facility that's seeking a license within, I think, a half mile of the Gettysburg National Military Park. And there are many of us who just believe that that's inappropriate, that this is sacred ground, that it is an important memorial to the men who gave their lives there for our country, and that we shouldn't have gaming going on in close proximity to that. I wanted to see a 12-mile buffer zone around the park It still would have allowed a gaming facility to be located in that county, but 12 miles away.
That far away.
Right.
Okay. With that said, we'll be right back with more information in just a minute.